Welcome back to another episode of Simp Warfare, where we take stupid things we see on the internet and we showcase them. Before all, we have a lot to cover today. We have Robert Spencer to discuss and his things that he has said that is bigoted without question. We have Abdullah Samir blaspheming against Hindus. We have Charlie Hebdo republishing their infamous cartoons that got many of their original cartoonists killed. And we have a very special segment. Title holder for the Charles Darwin Award, Muhammad Hijab, DM'd me. And we will get to that, I think, at the end, because that is something that I would like to talk at length about. But let's start with Robert Spencer. So Haris Sultan, and I don't want to draw him into this, it seems as though like he doesn't really want to be part of this discussion too much, but it was his original tweet that sort of ignited this. And he said, I think there is a massive flaw in our ex-Muslim movement. We want to be the sole critics of Islam. When an outsider criticizes Islam for the same thing, we call him a bigot. I also tried for a long time, but I never found anything bigoted from Robert Spencer. Now, Robert Spencer is definitely a bigot, and both Abdullah Samir and Mariam Namazi commented under Haris Sultan's original tweet to clear up any doubts that Robert Spencer is a bigot. Mariam Namazi said, anyone can criticize Islam any way they want. They don't need to be an ex-Muslim, just as you don't need to be a woman to criticize misogyny. Also, not all ex-Muslims think the same. We are individuals, not a homogeneous group. As a movement, our aims are to normalize dissent, ban apostasy and blasphemy laws, defend rights and equality for non-believers, but as individuals we differ on how to go about it and also who are our allies and enemies. I, for one, think that we cannot promote hate against believers to win rights for ourselves, as rights belong to all. We all have to have, or else no one else does. The problem with the far right is that they are not just anti-Islam but anti-Muslim. Politics of hate similar to Islamists. Spencer blames Muslims for Islamism's crimes, placing collective blame on people, many of whom have fled Sharia, is a bigoted politics that I can never support. A while back we did a report on far-right enemies, not allies, and he is in it, FYI. For me, I think there is a blind spot for a few ex-Muslims, always rightly critical of the left but full of excuses for the far right, forgetting the history and reality of fascist politics and how close it is to Islamism. Abdullah Samir also responded to this tweet saying, is this not bigoted to you? So my mom is as bad as an Al-Qaeda member, Haris. Now again, I don't want to drag Haris into this. I think that Haris has his reasons for posting that original tweet, and I'm not going to sit here and pull that apart. But Abdullah Samir posted this quote from Robert Spencer's Stop Islamization of America, where he says, there is no distinction in the American Muslim community between peaceful Muslims and jihadists. While Americans prefer to imagine that the vast majority of American Muslims are civic-minded patriots who accept wholeheartedly the parameters of American pluralism, this proposition has actually never been proven. And in Abdullah Samir's words, is this not bigoted to you? Abdullah Samir also said, when have I ever called someone a bigot because they are an outsider? I will provide you evidence that Robert is an anti-Muslim bigot that makes wide-sweeping generalizations to fearmonger against Muslims. He also provides an article from the splcenter.org. Example of where Robert Spencer is being bigoted. Muslim immigrant murders his wife. Why point out that he is Muslim? Does that have something to do with the fact that he killed his wife? Is that an inherently Muslim thing to do? He also made a bunch of screenshots of different things that Robert Spencer has said, and these are highlighted for you. We also have to end immigration from Muslim countries into the United States, and this was from Restoration Weekend. I have written on numerous occasions that there is no distinction in the American Muslim community between peaceful Muslims and jihadists, which again is from 2 men in New York and Florida charged in Al-Qaeda conspiracy, Jihad Watch, March 30th, 2005. Robert Spencer was actually quoted by a mass murderer. His writing was cited dozens of times in a manifesto written by the Norwegian terrorist Anders Breivik. Spencer was banned from the United Kingdom as an extremist in July 2013. Sohail Ahmed, or Reason on Faith, also commented on this, saying, I don't think that's the reason, Harris. I think Christians have a right to criticize Islam too. I follow a few who have great content on Islam. Just listen to the podcast with Robert Spencer and Aina from a few years back. He admits to a bigoted position there. She presses him on why he thinks it's okay for Christians to give oaths on the Bible, but that Muslims should not be afforded the same right to use the Quran for giving oaths. She invited him on to hear him out and gave him a chance. She did a masterful job teasing this out, and I would also advise, I actually haven't seen this podcast, but I'm going to listen to it. I would advise that anybody go and watch this. It's pretty undeniable that Robert Spencer is an Islamophobe or an anti-Muslim bigot, regardless of which term you use. It's pretty undeniable. He has said bigoted things in the past. He has not, apologized for bigoted things that he has said in the past. He has not shown more welcoming sort of behavior towards Muslims, and I want to make something very, very clear. I said it at length in a video that I made about Islamophobia, so go and watch that if you want the full scoop on my opinion. But like, most of my family are Muslims, practicing and non-practicing. Most of my family are Muslims. Many of my friends are Muslims. I am still identified as a Muslim when I work at a new place or when I go around, because my name is Muslim, Many of my male friends who still have beards, who are ex-Muslim, are still identified as Muslim. We are still part of the Muslim community, whether or not we like it. And we cannot, as Mariam Namazi said, ask for rights if we are taking away rights from other people based on belief. Robert Spencer, you tried it, and you've been exposed. The next thing I would like to cover is that Abdullah Samir has very recently gotten himself into trouble by posting a blasphemous picture of a Hindu goddess, and he says, I repeat again, posting blasphemous pictures of your gods is not bigotry, and I wholeheartedly agree. Blasphemy is not a crime, and it is not bigotry. Religion is a set of ideas. Religious figures are the ones that herald those ideas. They deserve our criticism. Criticism is the only way that we achieve any kind of progress. We need to, spread your ideas. That's fine. Have your ideas all out there on a platter. But to say that you can't criticize this idea, you can't criticize this person for their ideas, is a little ridiculous, because that's the only way we achieve progress, is by getting these ideas, scrutinizing them, taking what is good from them and seems to make society flourish from them, and then rejecting what is bad from them. I've said this on many occasions. I'm sure sacrificing people was part of somebody's culture, but we no longer do that, and we frequently probably make fun of that now because it's a ridiculous idea to sacrifice somebody to please a rain god or some shit, Blasphemy is not bigotry, and it shouldn't be equated like that. Another piece of news that I would like to share is that Charlie Hebdo has rehashed or reposted their original cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, and I want to say that I stand with Charlie Hebdo. Because again, on the same lines of blasphemy, first of all, there are many Islamic, I say Islamic, but Muslims have drawn the Prophet Muhammad historically over the years. It's only become a problem since Westerners have started doing it in a mocking way. But mockery should not be met with violence. Yes, disdain, criticism, sure, but it should not be met with violence. And the fact that it was met with violence, not just on this occasion, but on several occasions, is exactly the problem. And I stand with Charlie Hebdo for reposting their cartoons, and, you know, feel free to condemn them, feel free to say that, oh, you know, this was not a good thing to do, we don't like this. That is fine. That is your right to feel offended, to feel whatever, but such a thing should not be met with violence, and no one should assert that in any way that the cartoonists were deserving of the violence they received for drawing a bunch of pictures. It's the punishment did not fit the crime, you know. We support Charlie Hebdo, and I wish that British media had the balls to put those cartoons in the articles that they made about them, is all I'm saying. The last and final thing that I would like to address is, as I said in the beginning, Mohammed Hijab, our Charles Darwin Award title holder for the moment. He reached out to me, and I haven't currently got permission from him to use his DMs in this video, and if I do receive permission from him, you know, while I'm editing or whatever, I will throw them in here, but I don't feel right about using them while I don't have permission. So if they're not in here, then he hasn't given me permission, and if they are, then he has. He reached out to me and he was like, hey, Ridvan said this about my mother, and if you're going to criticize me for sexual harassment and all of this stuff, then I think for your own integrity you should also criticize Ridvan. So editor FAY here, I was sitting here editing, and I got a DM from Apostate Prophet or Ridvan, and I had DM'd him about this screenshot that Mohammed Hijab had sent me, and he's been posting all over his public Twitter, and Ridvan has informed me that this tweet may not exist. So I don't really know who to believe, but these are what these people have told me. It's up to you. Vote for who you believe in the comments below. So update on the update. It's been a couple of hours. I'm still editing, and actually I have scheduled the upload, so I'm going to take that one down and re-upload. But Ridvan has clarified about this tweet that he made about Mohammed Hijab's mother, and Ridvan has allowed me to share the DMs as an explanation for why this tweet was posted and then quickly deleted. And he says, I posted it and deleted it quickly only because I thought I don't want to be that way, was waiting for him to milk this though. Jana, which is Ridvan's wife, was getting attacked by anonymous people left and right, threatening her and insulting her. I was getting messages saying my wife was a whore and that raping her is no issue. So I lost it for a second, then I calmed down and deleted it. I'd say much more, and I don't give a shit, but I don't want my profile to be dragged down to that level. So that's the explanation for that. While I do understand the reasoning, I still can't stand by it, obviously, because, like I said, I don't like dragging people's mothers into this kind of nonsense. So, yeah, back to the video, I guess. I just want to say, as a rule, I don't go at people's mothers. I try not to involve people who aren't part of an argument into an argument, because it's just a bad thing to do. And I especially don't put people's parents into the mix. I don't put people's mothers into the mix, because my mother's dead, and that, you know, it hurts me when people make fun of my mother who is dead. So I can't say that I support what Ridvan said, and I also don't quite understand, like, this, honestly, this comment doesn't need context. I don't like what he said. I just don't. I'm not even going to read it. I don't like what he said, and I think that, you know, Mohammed Hijab has the right to feel offended by it. However, I do want to point out, and also, like, if your mother feels like she's been sexually harassed, feel free to take whatever measures you want about this, because I don't stand for this kind of, I just don't like people bringing people's mothers into arguments. Like, it's not, like, what did they have to do with it? Like, why did you go that far? However, I do want to say that the reason I made that video, the case against Muhammad Hijab, the reason I made that video is because Muhammad Hijab alleged that he had not said anything so far that would go against any kind of law, or like go against any kind of free speech rule. You still encourage targeted harassment. You still sexually harassed these men and their wives by giving them humiliating names, by using sexual innuendo, by, you know, asking them about bestiality and incest and polyamory when it was made pretty clear that they didn't want that. And as we stated in the last video, they don't even need to state that they don't want it for it to be unwanted. And it was clearly unwanted by everyone involved. By everyone involved. And I am by no means saying that your mother asked for this. I don't think she did. That's not what I'm implying. What I'm saying is that you still sexually harass those people, regardless of whether or not Ridvan did to your mother, and that's down to her, regardless of what she wants to do about, you know, what Ridvan has said. Regardless of what Ridvan has done, you still sexually harass those people. You still incited Ridvan to commit suicide for whatever fucking weird philosophical reason that you had. You still told him to go kill himself, and I'll like run the screenshots here, but like, I don't quite understand the logic of you, instead of coming forward, apologizing, you know, rationalizing even the things that you've said. I don't understand why your immediate reaction was, oh, Ridvan's done this, so therefore this. You know, in the words of my mother, like, are you gonna follow your dumb fucking friends if they jump off a cliff? You know, just because Ridvan's done this, suddenly yours is also valid? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Not only does it not make sense in a mature adult setting, it doesn't make sense also in an Islamic setting. Like, it just doesn't. Like, I don't remember the Prophet ever sexually harassing someone else's wife. It's like someone else's wife. Like, I don't remember him calling someone else's wife a bitch. You know, like, you frequently called Jana a bitch. I don't remember him frequently, like, dogmatically asking other people, you know, what do you think about incest? What do you think about bestiality? What do you think about polyamory? Oh, your man is unsatisfying because you're bisexual. Like, I don't think that that's part of the Prophet's sunnah, at least not from my research and my Islamic education. So yeah, I know that you wanted like a full video and my take on that. Like, again, it's down to your mother if she wants to, if she feels like she was targeted by this, then obviously it's up to her what she wants to do. And I, again, 100%, this is 100% Ridvan's oopsie. Like, he's definitely done wrong here. I do not support this. I do not bring people's mothers into arguments. It's just a bad thing to do. And you might say, oh, well, you have no morality. Well, look, I'm not a philosophy student. I know what I like and what I don't like, and I don't like people bringing my mother into arguments. I don't like people bringing anybody else into my arguments, because if I've done fucked up, then I've done fucked up, you know? Like, you take your shit out on me. You don't bring other people into it. Like, that's all I really have to say. The only reason I made that video is because you, Muhammad Hijab, asserted that you had not broken or violated any laws. And I mean, Twitter isn't really a law place, it's just a private company, but you've violated their entire abusive behavior policy by targeted harassment, sexual harassment, and inciting someone to suicide. And we've also read up the way you've harassed people sexually, like in terms of the UK law. And you could also, if Ridvan had gone ahead and like harmed himself, you could have also been tried for inciting him to commit suicide. You know, like, you're still breaking a law. It's still unlawful. And you asserted that just because there was no cases against you, that you hadn't broken the law. And that's what I was responding to. It wasn't necessarily, like, I wasn't sitting there being like, Muhammad Hijab, bad person, even though what you did was terrible. It was a response directly to that statement in that podcast. So, yeah, that was it. But thank you for reaching out, regardless. I won't use the DMs unless he allows me to, but I also got validation. Not that I needed it, but I got validation that I'm a real ex-Muslim because I know the deen. I was just so shocked at seeing it. I was just so shocked that someone was just like, look, I know you know the deen. I have no personal beef with you. I was just shook, okay? I was just shook. I feel like I'm living in a simulation. But anyway, thank you for tuning into this week's Simp Warfare. I'm sorry this video is like a little rushed and a little... I've got a lot going on right now. Work is slowly starting up. I'm going to a lot of interviews. It's a lot right now. The lockdown, I think, is finally winding down, so normalcy will return. So yeah, I'm sorry if this video seems very, very like ADD and rushed. Thank you for watching, and if you see a silly argument online that you would like hosted on this show, please do feel free to hashtag it with the words Simp Warfare. I get most of my material from Twitter. If you would like to send me arguments from other places, please do DM them to me at my Twitter account. All of my links are in the description below. My DMs are always open, so if you want to reach out to me. Thank you for tuning in. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. I will be posting something on Sunday. But if I don't, then it will probably be just a Monday video where I'm doing my makeup or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But anyway, thank you, and I'll see you.